Really happy to be here to support Graham and the whole Tattykeel crew. It's amazing to see, an amazing response that you get to a private show like this is just incredible. So for us to be able to come here and have the opportunity to talk in front of you is great. As Graham said, I've been in the meat industry for 20 odd years now. I grew up just down the road at Bathurst. Didn't have much to do with Graham before, but have been lucky enough to get involved, and recently have been lucky enough to come in on a part of this journey, which is fantastic. Look, just to give you some really quick background on who we are, Paradigm Foods. We started the company 5 years ago. Basically, we see ourselves as a bespoke brand house for the best in Australian meat. We do everything from the high-end Wagyu right through to grass-fed products, and now branching out into Australia's finest lamb. And the whole idea is to try and come up with these niche programs which enable us to tailor into what we see as being some consumer insights or consumer demands, where we see our ability is, or we have the ability to extract a premium. We've been, across the last 5 years, basically what Paradigm Foods has been doing is building a portfolio of brands and a team of people to run those. As I mentioned, we've got a full-blood Wagyu program and an F1 Wagyu program, which is our muse and our icon. They're our two originating programs, and we're feeding cattle, we're processing cattle in our own right, and then marketing the products. We also started a grass-fed Wagyu program, which was sourcing cull Wagyu cows from northern or central Queensland properties, and basically turning what a commodity animal was into a more premium article, and basically being able to return a premium back to the farmers. We've then got a 200-day grain-fed Black Angus, and more recently a regenerative grass-fed beef brand. And then, as you can see, we've now also expanded into the lamb category as well. So basically it comes on to what's the Australian-wide opportunity, and everybody would know that the lamb space is a huge opportunity. That's why we're all here. But the lamb space has been hard, and there's a reason why we've been running Paradigm Foods for 5 years, and we've only just gone into lamb. I've wanted to go into lamb for a really long time, but it's hard, because it's hard to find where you can actually extract that little premium. What is it that's going to give you that edge? And we've been looking, and we've been working, and we've been speaking to different people, and as Graham said, we've been talking to Graham and to Tim and the guys for a number of years, and it's now got to the point where we've seen that there is this amazing opportunity in Australian white. And it is that opportunity that we can start to use this breed, which hasn't been done in the Australian lamb space, to start to actually look at what the characteristics of these breed, of these sheep actually offer, and how we can actually start to tailor that towards what a consumer's looking for. And that's really what the opportunity is, and that's why we're here, that's why I'm really excited, and that's why Tim Lay, Mark Best, they've done an amazing job to be able to take what is a product which is, it's got so many great selling points, and now actually being able to put that in front of what's been some of the best chefs in Australia, and now going into export markets. And what we're here to do is to really start taking that forward. I just wanted to run through just some high-level numbers around why we're excited about this opportunity. And realistically, when we look at premium, I always talk about chilled. Realistically, you talk frozen, you're generally talking about a more commodity product. But when we're talking about chilled, it's generally high-end food service or it's retail. And that's where the premium lies. The more that we can get this out in front of people that are willing to pay a premium for a product, the more that we're going to be able to extract a premium and return that back to the farmer. What we've seen over the last couple of years is that there is this huge growth in chilled Australian lamb exports, and that's really exciting. And on the left, As you can see, it's been driven by the United States. The United States is obviously 10 times the market that Australia is, but they actually consume a really small amount of product. But you can just see how big an opportunity that is and just how much growth there has been over the last 3 years going into the United States. So as Mark mentioned, that is where we are focusing a huge amount of our attention on how do we get this growth into the United States. The next really key thing that we've seen is just how much consumers are actually willing to pay a premium for products. Driven from the United States, but right through different export markets, we're seeing that customers across the last 2 years have increased by somewhere between 15 and 25%, which is significant. And I know that there has been, there's been supply chain issues, there's been COVID, there's been inflation. But the thing that you see is once you get a price on a retail shelf, very rarely does it change. From a wholesale perspective and from buying lambs, the old saying is nothing fixes high prices like high prices. But once you get a price on a retail shelf, it very rarely changes. So we're starting to see that these consumers right around the world are really willing to start paying high prices for Australian lamb, specifically chilled Australian lamb. And that's pretty interesting and that's pretty exciting for us as a group to be able to start to extract that premium and hopefully be able to start returning that back through the supply chain. And then also, just as Chef Mark talked about before, we are about to go to the United States in November and do a big launch of our products across both food service and retail, but really focusing on white tablecloth restaurants in Los Angeles. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is because US consumers are willing to pay a premium for quality products. We can see across 5 different categories that meat and seafood are the number one. And so that's why we are starting to put a huge amount of emphasis into these chilled products and into the United States specifically. So then breaking down as to how we're going to take this forward, as the guys have mentioned, Graham, Tim, and the boys have been working really hard to develop Margra. Margra is a food service brand. Margra, and when we talk food service, we talk distribution to high-end restaurants and hotels. And that is what Margra is. And that's purely been what Chef Mark talked about, this whole differential on what the fat brings. Because everybody knows that generally when you go to a retail shelf, you see product or you see lamb and so much of the fat has been trimmed off. But Chef Mark's done the exact opposite and left all of the fat on and actually created a whole new product, which is really, really interesting. And I haven't seen it done within the lamb space. I haven't actually seen it done within the meat space like it. So it's a credit to Mark, it's a credit to Tim. Tim and Graham, who both say we're not meat marketers, well, they've done something right? So we've got the opportunity now to really leverage that. But where we're going to be focusing a huge amount of attention and focus to really grow this. It's lovely to have your product on white tablecloths in the best restaurants, but the volume is never going to be huge. We're going to start to actually now leverage that and be able to put that in front of more consumers through great retail opportunities in Southeast Asia, in the USA, and in Australia. So that's why we've now developed a second brand, which is really new, as new as this week, and that's Alba. And it's only just been released, and it's still got a lot of work to be done. But realistically, what we're going to be doing is now starting to create a specific brand for the retail market. And it's looking at that whole thing around what Aduli talked about, with the fact that the melting point in the fat, which is what we've been able to leverage in the food service, directly correlates to the long chain omega-3s. So when you talk about food service, people want taste. When you talk about retail, they want the health benefits. Whereas this product, within two separate ways, deliver both attributes. So it's actually pretty interesting, and that's actually why we got really excited about this opportunity. What you see on the screen here is just a mock-up, but this is what we're hoping you'll start to see across retail in Australia pretty soon. Now, just, what are we doing here? Realistically, you'll look around the room and you'll see a bunch of us now in the green vests. We're here to connect with you guys. We've come down from Brisbane today. We've got we're really grateful to have the opportunity to hopefully start to meet as many as you guys as possible. Whether you're already in the Australian white space or you're looking to move into it, we'd love to have the opportunity to discuss supply. We've been working really closely with Craig Pello and the QPL team in regards to the supply of the Margra livestock over the last few years and more recently together since we've been involved. But we would also love the opportunity just to discuss, how we can, begin to work with more farmers like yourself and start to bring more Australian white supply into our program. And very similar what we've done with the Wagyu and the grass-fed Wagyu programs. And you probably hear this a bit, but it is so that we can try and extract a premium, and it is so we can start to return a premium through the supply chain. I get really emotional about that. It's something that we really do focus on how we actually do. The whole reason that we are here is because we believe there's the opportunity to extract value through these attributes. And if we can do that together and we can start to partner together and we can start to build a really strong program, then there is definitely the opportunity to extract more value for all of us. We're processing around 1,000 a month at the moment down at Wagstaff's processing plant. We're looking to grow that to 1,000 a week pretty quickly. There's going to be pressure on supply, there'll be pressure on our customers, but ultimately that's where we want to get to pretty quickly, and then we see it growing even further than that. We'd love to have the opportunity to talk to you more this evening, and we'll be back tomorrow as well. So, thanks, Graham. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. Fantastic to be a part of it, and we look forward to taking it forward.